Okay, we got Mr.Cat sticking with the Zawan pick up against Saykoya, who has switched to Emeric. And they're going to play on open season. I'm really intrigued by the Emeric pick here because Emeric, you know, the podcast was last night. We were talking about commander tiers, and Emeric was really high up for a lot of people. Even after the nerfs, like people still consider Emeric really good. So, like, what was your decision like playing Emeric into this match?
Um, well, following game one, and then like basically from what I know of Mr.Cat, I just think they like Zawan quite a bit. And I think Emeric just has a good matchup into Zawan. It's like I picked first here, but I still went like, yeah, I'll go Emeric into Zawan.
Yeah,
And you
Miss.
know, Emeric isn't like the most known like of the strong commanders, so I feel like uh there's still he's still got that element of surprise, I guess. He can catch people off guard with a bunch of stuff. So I think like he's probably stronger in practice than he actually is. Uh, on this map specifically, I always tried to make Emeric work in Wargroove 1, but you know, like, the Wargroove 1 rifle really wasn't helping that.
Oh yeah, just like being able to snipe crystal.
Yeah, you couldn't protect it. Like, you only could put the crystal in the forest, basically. Which, you know, in Wargroove 1, not the best tile for the crystal. Um,
Okay,
but in
we
Wargroove 2, that's not a problem anymore. So yeah, that's why Emeric. I also, like, I think after game 1, I felt, you know, I felt I needed a bit more, a game that was a bit more slowed down.
bit less shenanigans. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I'm like, you know what? Emeric is like, you know, I know how to play Emeric. There's still and Emeric has some game plan that's very uh like once it's set up, it's basically safe. And you know, if you execute properly, your opponent can't do much about it.
Fair enough. Alright, so we see some divergence coming in from the opening. Saykoya
Yep.
ahead on economy and position right now. The sword in the corner is going to go down.
Yep. There was some opening inaccuracies from Mr.Cat that I punished as hard as I could, I guess.
And oh,
And
really good use of this knight, opening up that economically even further. But that being said, Zawan's pretty spooky on open season. Just the ability to, I guess, like press into the opponent's stronghold, set up a crit, and ooh, Harpy gonna get a free hit on Emeric.
yep, could have hit Knight here, but Cat chose to hit Emeric instead. Which, you know, fair enough. Emeric was like pretty active around there.
Yeah,
And the Knight isn't going to like go into the pikes, I guess. Although the Knight is probably more value, but you know, Emeric is the safer hit. So since Wargroove 1, I've kind of been like saying Zawan doesn't work that well on this map. And you know, I've been like fighting Zawans. Well, it was Greenfinger back in the days, but I've been fighting Zawans on this map forever, so I know exactly what to do.
yeah, makes sense. And yeah, just nice defensive position on front of the stronghold. I guess like the big difference is tier 2 Zawan's gonna be kind of spooky, but ooh, we see the archer come out. And I've heard things about archers. We're gonna see how that plays out. I won't commentate on it too much until it happens, but something I've said for quite a while in Wargroove 2 is that I think archer has a lot of potential with the Emeric tier 2 crystal. And tier 2 is up, and there is an archer there. And I actually don't remember if rifle gets bonus range off of Emerald Crystal. So.
Rifle does get bonus range, in fact.
Oh, oh, that's interesting then.
Well, not that it needs the bonus range, but you know.
Oh, I mean, there are things you could do with that. You could pull your rifle really far back and then, you know, shoot your opponent's rifle with your one.
Yeah, there's stuff to do.
Okay, we're gonna see tier 2 come out here. Does a little bit of damage. Not too much, though. I would have thought they would like, try and hit the rifle a bit, but...
Yeah, this was a groove that was done more for like the chip damage. But usually like that's not ideal for Zawan because, well, then this happens. I'm not really like threatened by his army when I'm gonna hit the vines here.
Yeah, like that wasn't positionally like a very good play. Even damn the rifle actually gets a kill. So three vines are still up though, so we can still see some chip damage coming in. And while this is happening, like Mr.Cat is pushing up the map. Actually, I think the economy is now swung in Mr.Cat's favor. So.
Yep, I believe Cat is like 200 up at the moment.
I think so, something like that. So. Yeah, pressure's coming in, and this is something we saw in game 1 as well. Mr.Cat actually really good at just kind of like almost like sneakily like getting an economic lead, just like over time creating more and more advantage.
I have a spell for this.
Yeah, Emeric's gonna take out these vines. And yeah, that's that tier 2 groove gone now. I guess both players have now popped the tier 2 groove though.
Yep, well, there is a difference in like how long one stays on the field, I guess.
Yeah, although Zawan groove can live a long time as well, but I think it was just like Mr.Cat just threw it on top of Saykoya's army here and just yeah. No more groove. One vine left does a little bit of chip damage.
Yeah, it does allow for the kill on the knight, I guess.
Yeah. It is a nice little play.
Oh, actually, the rifle and the crystal here reaches the river tile next to the barracks all the way up top. Oh, and here, yeah, archer crit one-shots rifle, by the way.
Oh, that's so funny. 5 range archer. Yeah, you're dealing with like a treb basically at that point. And oh, these are so deadly.
Yeah, I didn't know it one-shotted before this, but you know, it was a nice surprise to find out.
I think archers are like one of the most unexplored units in a lot of interactions. You just like wouldn't necessarily think you would ever see an archer be able to crit a rifle.
Yep.
Yeah, now Mr. Cat's just like, oh, I gotta back up because my opponent has trebuchets that can walk and shoot.
Yeah, and like the archer range now kind of splits the map in half. And it's like, it's not only I have control of the center, but I also like make him going to the sides slower, I guess.
Yeah, and so like, how do you find this? Especially if you lose your rifle, because I imagine like who thinks to check if their rifle is gonna die to an archer? And oh, actually, we see Mr. Cat builds their own trebuchet as a kind of wait. I need a 5 range unit that can deal with these archers. So I mean that makes a lot of sense. Like archers just don't deal damage to trebs. We just see so much pressure onto this golem.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he went for a treb, I guess. Because if he builds a golem, this happens.
Yeah, and oh, just like more and more chip damage. And oh, this Emeric tier 2 is so scary, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, oh, I was saying actually at the beginning in Wargroove 1, like putting it in the forest is a bad tile. But in Wargroove 2, it's a good tile. Because like you have your archers that can shoot both sides, and like you still have one anti-love crystal to tank for them.
I guess like if you were really wanting to push it far, like you could just like have a Treb slowly crawl across the map.
Yeah, I actually tested Siege on this map. It just takes forever to get out.
Okay,
That's why I'm just like going with archers.
and I see there's a dog in crit range of an archer. I think that's just a dead dog. I mean, yeah, you're more and more archers are coming out, and I do just kind of wonder, like, what do you do against this? Like, I guess you just have to be prepared to just break the crystal and kill it as soon as you can, but...
Yeah, it's more about like doing stuff before it gets to that point, I suppose.
Yeah, I
But it's
mean...
not like trivial either. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I
Yeah,
played this on the Emeric side, not on the opponents.
yeah. I mean, I guess, like, the tier 2 from Zawan wasn't really all that effective, so... Like, that
Yeah,
obviously didn't help.
it is a big part of why this happened, like as cleanly as it did, I guess.
And even just, like, the spear walks up. Oh, we see the knight crit. And I guess as long as another knight lines up, which is exactly what just happened, we're gonna see the rifle. Oh, actually, that's just a regular rifle shot, so
Yeah.
nothing obscene. Well, I mean, it's kind of obscene by itself, especially
Yeah,
because
it's just rifled. Well, you'll never get to it, but you know.
yeah, especially oh yeah, just losing. I think you actually need your own rifle to help deal with this kind of situation too. And I
Yeah,
imagine
rifle would be very useful in like, because there's also like a throughout the game I was walling pretty hard inside the Emeric crystal, but if there's a rifle like lined up on the crystal formation, it's way harder to actually wall because there's a bunch of stuff that like barely doesn't die when it's in crystal. So if you have a rifle to support, you can open up sides and stuff.
ooh, that sword actually lives. Oh, it's in the crystal, of course.
Yep.
Oh, that's unfortunate. And ooh, Mr.Cat, I guess, really wants to just use a tier 2 here. So
I mean, there isn't that much like space to use the tier 1 on, really.
I have a spell
yeah,
for
that's also
this.
very true. Yeah, like the vines would just do very little, so we're just gonna see a lot of damage come out here. Ooh, yeah, golem goes down, and we're gonna see rifle, archer. Golem could have walked up and finished it. Another archer. Oh wow, so much overkill. And that was just a complete, very different from game 1. Very like slow, methodical play there from Emeric. Just kind of puts Crystal down, deflects the tier 2 from Mr.Cat. I think had there been a much stronger option come out from Mr.Cat earlier on that actually put a lot more pressure on, like the crystal wouldn't have been as significant, or like there would have been more advantage gained. Like I don't think there was a single unit lost from that tier 2 groove, or like as a result of that tier 2 groove getting thrown down from Mr.Cat. So yeah, just like Ember Crystal in a really good position both defensively and offensively. Yeah, I imagine we're gonna see Emeric getting banned on open season.
Really. And the funny thing is, like, this happened like a few hours before the tier list discussion. And and yeah, you saw people talk about Emeric there.
Oh yeah, like people were like, Emeric is S tier, and I was like, what? I was like, because I remember people were saying for a while that Emeric is like not that good after the nerf. Like he nerfed pretty hard. His tier 1 groove's still really bad, which I guess is true. It's like a super situational tool that you wouldn't use very often. But the tier 2 groove is so good, and those archers, I said it months ago the Emeric Archer was going to be a thing and that it was going to be really strong. And I was completely right, and we get to see why. So I am very happy to see that here. But Saykoya are going to move on. They're going to go into round 2 of the tournament on winner's side. Mr.Cat, they're going to make it through on losers. They played really well. Game 1, they could have had it, so... Yeah, but I think in this case, like, we see... Okay, you just ban Emeric on open season because you can do stuff like this. And, like, that one crystal position is so deadly. You just have, like, have a few defensive units, you put some archers behind it. Maybe people figure out some counterplay to it. I could see some grooves maybe doing, like, relatively effective here, but... Yeah, Emeric's a scary person to fight against, so... well played to Saykoya, they're gonna go through on their side.